Logarithms.
All right, so the lesson before kind of introduced you guys to some exponents and stuff. So this time around, we're going to be looking at logarithms. Hey, I need quiet. Silent. Okay. So we're going to be looking at logarithms. So make sure you guys are following along, taking notes, so you get your points.
Okay, follow along with all this land.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at logarithms today. And logarithms we usually write as log. And they are used to help solve exponent problems. So for example, 10 to the x equals 100 is the same thing as log base 10 of 100 equals x. So what they do is they get rid of exponents. So I have a 10 to the power of x, right? When I do the logarithm, it gets rid of that exponent. Because exponents are really kind of a pain. We don't like having exponents. But logarithms, we can plug into our calculator really easy. Which I'll show you how to do here in a few minutes. So, we're going to start by practicing going between exponential and logarithmic form. So, when we look at exponential and logarithm form, they both have what's called a base. They both have a base. You just tell them to shush.
If that's how you do it. Oh, there's just log.
Maybe if you're lucky to stick it. Okay, so in exponential and logarithm form, they each have a base. In exponential form, it's this one with the exponent. And in logarithm form, it's this little number down here right by log. And so we're going to go back and forth between the different ones.
What's fractions?
So we're going to start by, well, I guess I should go first. Alright, so in exponential form, if 100 equals 10 squared, in logarithm form, we say log base 10 of 100 equals our exponent, which is 2.
What goes right here, Volky? Did we skip that? Or?
No, it's, there you go.
So log is?
There you go. Log 10 of 100. Well, we can plug it into the calculator, which it is right there. Okay, it's that one right there. Sorry, just a second. I'll let Helena get caught up real quick.
Thank you.
Oh, hell no.
Okay, so we're going to rewrite 81 equals 3 to the 4 in logarithmic form. Actually, let me see if I can make this fit here.
No. And then you're going to mess up like this?
There.
That's what I did.
Alright,
So you put the 4 where the 10 was?
so we're going to put the 3 with the 10. So we need to go from this exponential into logarithmic form. So I'm going to go log like this.
4.
And our base, the log base, is the same as the thing with an exponent. So when 81 equals 3 to the 4, my base is right here, it's 3. So this reads as log base 3 of, and then after that is what it equals.
81 equals
So
4.
it's going to be 81,
Four.
and it's going to be equals 4.
What did I just say?
Mm-hmm. So log base 3 of 81 equals 4. This is logarithmic form, which we can plug into our calculators. We can plug that straight into Desmos, which I'll show you how to do later.
Well, in this circumstance, yes.
So the way I like to remember these,
It's a sideways.
the way I like to remember to go back and through these, is if I'm going from exponential to log form, I take my base here, I put a log in front, and then my base squishes down by the log. And after I do that, my exponent just kind of falls down like a normal number. So that's kind of how I like to visualize these. You don't have to, if you look at it, remember, oh, log base of the equals, and then your exponent. I like to visualize taking your base, putting it on a log,
It's to help you see.
and you put it on the opposite side. I don't know. I'm visual that way.
It's like a little sword.
That was funny.
Sorry,
so
mocking you
confused.
now.
No, this is easy.
Okay, so let's do another one. So we have 36 equals 6 squared. We're going to write it in logarithm form.
You do it like this.
So the way I remember is we take our base, which is 6, because it has the exponent, and I'm going to shove it out in the very front with a log. So we're going to go log
Dude.
base 6. Yeah, it's fine.
Put on gang signs.
Up 36 equals 2.
Or Dave Williams walks in.
Log base 6 of 36
He'll
equals
cite you
2.
guys.
Is that all we have to do?
That's it, yeah, for right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You always
So
say
this
that.
one,
For today.
oh, should be.
Oh, really?
I know, he always
same
says that.
thing?
Oh, is that all we have to do?
Alright, let's do the next one together. And then you guys will do part C.
2,
Okay, so even though there's fractions here,
Oh my god.
8, 27.
even though there's fraction here, it works exactly the same way. My base is 2/3. So I'm going to shove that in front with a log. And that's going to be my new base. So we're going to go log of 2/3. And then 8 over 27. And it's going to equal the exponent, which is 3.
Okay.
It's pretty easy, this first
Oh,
part.
hush, Thomas.
Actually, this whole chapter is probably
Question.
fairly easy.
Never mind.
Yes.
I like the last lesson.
I actually doing homework over the weekend. Go, you proud of me now?
I can't do.
Nope.
Throw my pencil.
And then my second question. My second question.
Alright, start at part C.
Go. Hurry down.
Can I do it right?
You need to have a base.
We know Jaden didn't, so.
So you need to have a base right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we going on those.
It's going to be log base 3 of 1 equals 0.
Coffee.
You is
Like
golf.
Whoopi,
2 and
right?
4.
Yes, but you want the 3 smaller and the 1 bigger. Because the base is like a little number, like how many skills.
Oh!
And then regular numbers.
This is always
So
should
it's
do
not
today.
wrong, it's just-
Should drag out our lessons.
It's like regular.
Is.
Alright,
The water is found.
so let's go over this one real quick.
Stop.
So when I write this one down,
No.
I'm going to go log, and Alyssa, what's my base?
3.
Okay. Ermaya, what's going to be the big number right after the base?
Is your name Mariah?
Yeah, actually. No, it's not.
It's my middle
No.
And then it's going to equal 0. Because that's the only thing that's left. Alright, pretty good. Not too tough so far. Because we are just going back and forth between exponential and logarithm.
Well, if there's no exponent,
Well, look at it.
is it 1?
Satisfied.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. So, on the next part, we are going to work backwards. So we are starting off in logarithm form,
Okay, so it's gonna be.
and we're going to work backwards and go into exponential.
Oh.
So, I like to visualize it. So, we have the thing on the other page. Yes.
So it's gonna be x equals. No, never mind. I forgot.
You're close. Yeah, you're right. You started off right. Okay, so we are working backwards this time, and we're going into exponential. And again, I like to visualize it better.
Yeah, really, especially when I'm.
So, hey, hush.
Hush.
If you're leaving, are you leaving, Jaden?
Yeah.
Then just go.
I am.
Okay.
I got my
So sad.
Let's
Oh, we have this.
Let's go. Get out
I
of
got my
here.
stuff, but
Okay. So I am going into exponential.
Oh, log.
So I'm gonna take my base and I'm gonna put it on the other side. And when I put it on the other side, the number there bumps up like an exponent.
This.
So I'm going to have x equals 3 to the 7,
That's excellent.
which you could plug into Desmos and calculate, but we're not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna go x equals 3 to the 7.
Okay, so I had it right. I was gonna say that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That was a weird
So it's 1x.
Alright, let's look at our next one. Log base 5 of x equals 7. I'm going to take my base, I'm going to shove it over here on the other side, and it's going to bump the 7 up like an exponent. X equals 5 to the 7.
I
got-
Yeah, because if
If
it's.
no numbers is by the log, it is 0.
So, when we look at these, if there is no base, there's no base on this log, right? This is log of x equals 5. So, there is a base there, but you know how if you have a x, like an x to the 1, or if you just have an x, what's the exponent on it? 1. What's the number in front? If you have a square root, what's the
Two.
yeah, 2 index is 2, right? Well, log, same way. So if you have a regular log and there's no number there,
It's
what do you think
one.
the base is? I'm curious.
1. I said
One.
0 and then I said 1. It's 3.
No, you're way off.
4.
It's 10.
Oh.
It's okay, just add a 0.
I know. I'm always curious what people guess. So if there is no base, it's automatically a 10. So you could rewrite this, you don't need to, but you could rewrite this as log base 10 of x equals 5.
So it would be 10 to the 5th.
X equals 10 to the 5th. Yep.
That's what confused me.
So just like
My
before,
eraser's
we're going to
gone.
take our base, we're going to shove it over. X equals 10 to the 5th.
When you go, Mom,
I'm a nerd, man.
driving with less
I bet they got these cells too.
Ooh.
What is
You
this
can
on
make
my back?
We'll get there in a second. All right, so let's do one more real quick. So this is log of 5 equals x. There is no base, which makes it automatically a 10.
You're just not
So I'm going to take the 10, shove it over there, and say 5 equals 10 to the x.
Whoa,
I think I understand.
whoa.
I messed that one up really, really bad.
You're just going back and
There's
forth
gonna be
back
sort of
here,
problems.
5,
isn't
10 up, right?
there?
What?
Look.
Remember, look, if
I
there is
wrote
no
that
number
wrong.
by
What
the
the
log, the
Okay, I
base
wrote.
is 10. We just learned that.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, so
What
you
the
would
hell?
go, you're going to simplify that, right, to 5, 10?
No.
No.
I mean, you're doing
5
it
equals
backwards.
10 to the
I
x.
put the X.
Yeah, we're going the other way. We're going from log to exponential. So I'm just going to leave it like this. 5 equals 10 to the x.
And the next one is going to be
Awesome.
1
You're doing pretty good at
equals
golf, man.
and
I like it.
10 to
I can
the
drive pretty
x.
far now.
All right, do these two in the box. I want you to write it in
I
exponential
got like
form.
10 strokes in the green alone. No.
Right, write the
I
two
got
in the
the
boxes,
green
in the
too,
orange
but
boxes
I
in
did 10
exponential
butts.
form.
Okay. We could have got a hole in one.
I think I did it right.
I had 8. I got the green in 1, but 1, 2, 3, 4. It all adds up. They're right.
I already got a 2 on the part 3.
I
Eight.
was so confused with that one right there.
I should just stayed on top of
James,
all
I already got a 2 on the part 3 on
For some reason, I was
Wait,
thinking
what?
that
You know,
well,
part-
it is the
or
base,
part
but for some
three,
reason, I was thinking that
full
that came
8.
out.
Yeah.
I already got a 2 on that.
8. Really?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I was going with 2.
You landed on the green, huh?
Yeah, I landed on the green. I was mad because it bounced away from the hole and I just long played it.
Oh, no way. You
Yeah.
guys ready? With you?
I was with Wilbur and
Oh, really?
I think it was just Wilbur, yeah.
Ooh.
No, so yeah, it was just Wilbur.
All right, it's looking pretty good.
That's like,
Pretty
I
good.
like that. Yeah, I do too.
Wait, so did I
for,
do
would
this
you
right?
hit it with
Can we be
your
done?
drive?
My 7.
No.
Look at the back.
But the next part isn't very hard.
That's why you
It's
landed
very
a lot
hard.
probably.
It is not very
If you
hard.
would have used your 8, you'd been right there.
Yeah.
Got water
But
on
you
me.
probably trust your 7 more.
All right, so on this one, Raven, what's this one right here? The
I was
log
going to do this, you go.
of 1.
He's pretty good after this.
Really? I haven't
It's
seen
weird.
I haven't seen that.
1 equals
Every
10
hit I've
to
seen
the
on
x.
the course of the team.
Hey, hush! We're going back over these.
Why?
And then Carissa, what's this next one?
Oh.
Yep, 7 equals 10 to the x.
The water can't.
All right, so we're also going to be actually calculating some logs. We're not really going to be solving yet. That'll be the next lesson. But we are going to calculate logs. So make sure you have Desmos.
Can we just like do these for 2 steps for now?
I wish you should.
Okay, we need
Not
to do
very
some
easy, they'll be
balance
fine.
stuff.
Oh, I forgot to change these for Desmos, but that's okay. So we're going to start just by calculating a regular log.
That was a flag.
Which,
Yeah.
so, honestly, the log stuff is basically, I type it in the calculator. So, to get to logarithms,
You got a function.
we go to functions, and then it is on miscellaneous, misc, and then you just hit the log button.
Just
it's the
log?
log one?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a log button. Or you could also just type in log if you wanted, and then you put your parentheses.
Do that.
Yeah, that's way easier.
I mean, I like to just type it in. But you just put in whatever number you're looking at. So if you're finding like log base 10 of 5, it's 0.698. If you're doing log base 10 of, I don't know, 35, 1.54. You
What
just
about-
plug them in.
Log 9, 24. Like the little.
Alright, so that's what we're going to learn, how to do the logs with different bases. So to start with, just a log, if you're just doing regular log, you just plug it in the calculator. It's not that hard.
Are you gonna teach us how to solve log without a calculator?
No,
Why not?
that would be a pain.
I kind of
Well,
want
you
to.
You made us do matrices.
Yeah, you made us do matrices all around.
Yeah, that you could do. It's just a lot of steps. That,
You
that
could
would be a
do
thing.
this.
I don't have logs memorized.
You don't?
All right,
Kind
So-
of a teacher, yeah.
we are gonna figure out how to
No.
calculate log base 8 of 32 in our calculator. So, before, when we did logs, they were all base, what, Kayala? When I did those in Desmos real quick.
10.
What were these log bases? 10, right? So, if you ever have a log that is not base 10, you can still plug it in. There's just a quick step first. So, it's not quite as true of Desmos, but I want to show you guys this property anyway. If you have log base 8 of 32, that is the exact same thing as if you did log of 32 divided by log of 8. So they're both base 10 now. But if you do log base 10 of 32 divided by log base 10 of 8, it is the exact same thing as log base 8 of 32.
Why?
Just logs are weird that way. I can't explain it. They're weird.
Why not?
Because I'm not that good with logs.
So,
That's what this
is
Do I
that-
look like a lumberjack?
Is that just
I
like,
don't get it.
Okay.
Got
Kinda do.
himself on that
yeah, the
one.
beard.
Yeah, you kind of do
What?
look like a lumberjack.
The beard.
With your beard.
Oh, white guy with a beard?
But is that like the end of it?
Yeah.
Have we done
Yeah,
something?
well, you plug it into
That's what you're
Desmos.
holding it at.
Is that-
Alright, so let's actually
Oh,
calculate this and get a
that's
decimal.
That was
It's
fine,
1.6.
How many people
I have a
are
real
in that
question.
club?
That's a real
It's
question.
1.6.
So is that 8? Is that like in the exponent?
Yeah.
Or is
No,
that
it's just a regular log. These are all log base 10s right here.
Oh, okay.
But when it's base 10, you don't write it in, so I didn't write it in.
No.
Alright.
So just log 32 divided by log 8.
No?
So I'm gonna go log,
69.
let's go log 32
It's 1.6.
divided by, I'm gonna do
Who's
it.
that guy?
1.6
I'm
repeating.
gonna do it myself.
1.6 repeating.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes. And we get 1.6 repeating.
Pisses me off.
So log base 8 of 32 is the same thing as log 32 divided by log 8, and it equals 1.6.
6, 6, 6, 6.
More repeating.
6, 6, 6, 7.
And that's it. You don't have to do anything else.
That's nice. I like that.
Forever.
Yes.
Like pi? Just go.
Yes.
There's an ending to pi. It's called it.
Alright, let's do another one. Let's do log base 5 of 125.
I wasn't finished.
I agree.
Can we just put it in calculator? Is that what you want us to do?
Well, yeah, we're gonna do one together, then you guys can do one. So, log base 5 of 125.
He stops for other people. Not for me.
Yeah.
I know.
It was like 1.6.
You already had the answer. 1.6 repeating.
I had just wrote it down. And I didn't have it. I was
So-
drifting off.
Log base 5 of 125 is going to be the exact same thing as log of 125. This is base 10 divided by log of 5. And you just plug that straight into Desmos. So I'm gonna go log of 125 divided by,
Doesn't matter
Log
which
5.
one they are?
yes. So, that's a good question.
Oh,
So, when you do these,
shoot.
the base is always on the bottom. Base is always the bottom number.
I got 4.29.
I typed it in wrong, man, because it's not that. So the base is always the bottom.
Probably like 5 or something.
It's 3.
I was close.
I got 0.3 because I put the thing on top, I think.
Well, how did Jim do it?
I don't know.
So it's log of 125 divided by 1.5.
Log base 5,
You did it wrong.
125.
Other way around.
What?
The base always goes on the bottom one.
Why can't we just...
So base 5, right? That always goes on the bottom. So do log 125 divided by log of 5.
I have a question. On like our homework, will we get docked points if we don't write it like that? And we just leave it as log 5, 125?
No, because you just plug them in
Cookie,
Desmos,
man.
so there's no work.
Cookie.
There is a special thing on Desmos
Can
that
you
does
just do
this
like
for
that?
us.
I know, but I wanted you to learn the
Oh, no, you
property.
can't do that. That's so stupid.
What?
I wanted you to learn this.
Yeah. Austin, you
Actually, on these
I got
calculators, it was actually way harder to do.
Hey, is the answer
So
3?
I figured.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 3, 2.5.
So we type this
I
in
got
and
3
we
flat,
get
so I'm wrong.
3.
No, it's 3 flat.
Yeah.
Just straight 3.
It's 2.5.
Which, if you would, if you turn this into exponential form, so let's say it equals an x, you turn it into exponential form, you bump that base over, right? You get 125 equals 5 to the x. 5 to what power equals 125?
3.
3.
Dude.
Or you
So,
just use
if you didn't know how to do this, you could switch it into log form
Yeah.
and then calculate it. So, I don't think we're going to do a whole lot of calculating right now. That'll be next lesson. But,
You want to wait?
We're calculating it.
that's it.
That's what I thought.
All right, let's do. Oh, I want you to do part B and C on your own.
Oh.
Plug them into Desmos
We'll be
and tell
done
me
in
what
about
you
2
get.
seconds.
Go give a question.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
Can I
Cal.
have a small after I finish the B and C and I certificate?
When are you leaving for your game?
Yeah, why is Jaden
Oh, God,
why is
that's
Jaden gone, but you're not?
Because Jaden chose
Negative.
baseball.
You get negative?
Baseball
No.
coach has a fixed amount
Both
and
the-
he
I did
does
it wrong.
So,
Which one
so
was
you
it?
can be there to support your team?
Yeah, I
Any
put
point from
the
Jaden?
4 up top. It's 32. 25.
This one, I got negative 0, negative doesn't,
Do the fraction.
what's there? I mean, C. C.
Oh, you're doing C. I didn't do C. That was B.
I literally finished already though.
Okay, how do I do this?
How come it's not giving me an answer?
I literally got
Because also,
2 notebooks. And I'm getting
Oh,
2.
never mind.
2.
yeah, C. Yeah, C.
Stop! You're terrible at that stuff.
I just said the
I
wild
was
spot.
getting 4 things.
I'm really bad at this
Don't
one.
give me 4.
Yeah, I got it.
Almost done. Just wait.
No.
Trying to be all, but wait.
Children.
Bro, you
How dope is that?
Log G or is that?
Oh, write an exponential form. 24 equals. Wait, no. How do you do it again?
Your versus is 24. No, stupid.
Oh, you gotta close your eyes.
How to do it.
Is the crowd
No, you're still doing the.
Let me see.
Oh, we are?
Yes, fine. Elena, what's B?
What?
What do you get for B?
No, so I just said. I just I put C.
1.5. All right.
Log
Devin, what do you get for C?
I get negative
Is it
0.83.
X3?
That's the base.
Negative
Or
0.83
24
repeating is
equals-
what he meant to say.
No.
It's not repeating.
All right, let's plug it in.
24.
It's X9, isn't it?
Negative
Or
0.83.
All right, let's do
X9.
log of
Or 0.9?
Negative 0.83.
1
repeating.
divided by 32. I don't trust you now.
Oh my
I
god.
just
Divided
did
by
No variable. What it
log
is.
64.
0.9?
It's right.
Go kids, right?
Negative 0.83 repeating.
Yeah, negative 0.83 repeating.
Negative.
See, you can't trust Devin.
Hey, this is the same exact stuff with people.
That's what she said.
Just do that. Plug it in here.
Right. Yes.
All right, so that is
Oh,
it.
wait.
Oh.
So,
you do
if
that
you haven't
and
yet,
write
start your
exponential.
exit ticket. So, when it says solve, I mean, give me what does it equal? Like, what does this equal in Desmos? But you also have to write it in exponential form. So
We didn't
there's
do
2
that.
pieces.
How do we do that?
Plug it into Desmos and then write it in exponential form.
So that's like, okay.
So there's just 2 questions. So, do that on your paper, and I'll turn on Socrative and put your homework
Is that
on
9?
Google Classroom.
Wait,
Yeah.
we have to put it in